Take the Eastenders quiz to discover if you're like Peggy, Pat, or Bianca, the iconic gossip queens of Walford. Dive into the lives of these characters, from Dot's wise counsel to Pat's no-nonsense attitude. Meanwhile, fans decipher Billy Mitchell's family timeline and learn about Don Gillet joining Death in Paradise. Quiz. Peggy, Pat, or Bianca from Eastenders? Find out which gossip queen from Walford you are. Who are you, Pat Butcher, Bianca Jackson, Cotton, or Peggy Mitchell? There have been some very dubious characters on and off Eastenders since the program's 1985 premiere, but some Walford residents feel like members of our own family, even if they aren't on the show anymore. June Brown's character Cotton debuted in the 40th episode of the BBC soap opera, which aired in July 1985. She was known for her gossipy antics and chain smoking, and she amused fans for decades. Up until her final episode in January 2020, was always willing to lend her warmth and knowledge to anyone in need. A year following Dot's entrance, Pat Butcher, a real straight-A from the East End who didn't put up with much, arrived. Since Pat constantly knew what was going on in and around Walford and had been the subject of several controversial conversations, she was straightforward and essentially the spokesperson of the community. In extremely moving sequences, the character was killed off in January 2012. When Peggy Mitchell, Barbara Windsor, moved in 1994, Pat had a sidekick. The two might be seen talking over a drink, or 10, when they weren't fighting over their shared affection for Frank Butcher and calling each other dirty names. Up until the last episodes in 2016, Queen Vic landlady Peggy, who is renowned for being a pocket rocket, never backs down from drama, even if she was the one causing it. Though it may surprise you to learn that Bianca Jackson, Patsy Palmer, made her debut in 1993, she has made a very welcome return to Walford. Feeling old yet? Tell Bianca a secret. At the end of the week, you can bet your life that everyone in the square will know about her flaming mouth and golden heart. Which Walford gossip queen, though, do you think you're most like? Are you an outgoing, reticent member of society, or do you prefer to fight fire with fire? Using the brand new Eastenders personality test above, let's discover out. Remember to tell us in the comments area whatever character you choose. In order to make sense of Billy and Stevie Mitchell's reunion, Time Warp Eastenders fans created a family chronology, which clarifies everything. Earlier this year, Alan Ford debuted in the role of Stevie. Fans of Eastenders collaborated to decipher a confusing Mitchell family timeline. Since the early 1990s, the Mitchell family has had a significant role in the soap opera. Among the notable members are their mother Peggy, siblings Phil, Grant, and Samantha, Phil's kid Ben, and, to mention a few, cousins Billy, Ronnie, and Roxy. Over the years, the Mitchell family that resides in Albert Square, the backdrop for the program, has undergone multiple changes. After a flashback appearance in 2022, fans first encountered Billy's father Stevie Mitchell in the present day in January. Fans, however, are now confused about Billy's early life timeline and whether or not his history has narrative holes. On the subreddit for the program, a viewer posted, "Billy's past has me a little confused, perhaps others can shed some light on it." So, after being placed in foster care as a child, Billy has been reunited with his father Stevie, whom he resents. However, the flashback episode from 2022 revealed that Billy had returned to the Mitchells as a teenager and had joined Stevie and brother Charlie in the warehouse heist. The viewer noted Billy was in his mid-30s when he last saw his father, 25 years ago, meaning Billy and Stevie would have spent several years together before Billy and Stevie lost contact once more. These conversations about leaving me in care would have happened by now, unless Billy is still struggling with it, they continued. Even though it's obvious that they haven't seen each other since Billy was placed in care, it feels like that. Thankfully, additional fans quickly stepped forward to help interpret the story. I believe that Stevie was maybe in and out of Billy's life on occasion as an adult until Charlie passed away, at which point he scarpered and Jamie was left in Billy's care, one person said. I believe Billy reconciled with his brother after leaving foster care at the age of 16. Billy probably saw Stevie occasionally during the next 20 years since he was around at the time. It fits with the timeline of Billy entering the show and everything with Jamie if Stevie went crazy again soon after Charlie passed away. A critical eye was trained on the situation by another observer, who wrote, "It's likely that there will be gaps in the timeline they choose for Stevie and Billy." I don't think the show actually gave the character's inclusion any thought until this casting. I am not saying fans should overlook errors, but I don't know if a 100% accurate timeline can be made. It happens after a recent episode mentioned Jamie, Billy's late nephew. Tragically, Jamie's life was taken in 2002 when Martin Fowler ran him over by accident. But as it turned out, Stevie asked Billy to connect him with Jamie because he was ignorant of his grandson's passing that occurred 20 years earlier. After being mute for a while, Billy eventually informed his father, Jamie's dead. The cast of Eastenders has been announced as Ralph Little's successor on BBC Death in Paradise. Earlier this year, Ralph Little left the BBC detective series Death in Paradise. The news that a former Eastender will be taking charge has been confirmed. The principal investigator in Death in Paradise will be replaced by Eastenders star Don Gillet, the BBC has confirmed. Ralph Little will be replaced. He'll portray D.I. Mervyn Wilson, a man who travels from London to the picturesque island of St. Marie and isn't quite thrilled with his new life. Famous for her role as Lucas Johnson on EastEnders, Gillet has started filming in Guadeloupe. Returning regulars from Death in Paradise, including Dawn Warrington, Chantal Jackson, Ginny Holder, Elizabeth Bourgine, and Danny John Jules, are also filming with Gillet. Gillet remarked of accepting the new part, "It feels like a deeply loved and incredibly precious jewel has been placed in my hands." Gillet was cast as the lead in Death in Paradise. This is a huge program with a huge heart, and people's affection for it keeps growing. I want to always remember it and always be appreciative, modest, and committed. Even in the most trying moments, when every muscle in my body cries out for me to jump off the set and into the nearest ice-cold lager, swimming pool, or ocean. Don is an amazing actor and we're delighted that he's joining us as the show enters another exciting new era, adds Red Planet Pictures executive producer Tim Key. I'm excited for the audience to meet Mervyn and see what we have in store since we have big plans for the upcoming series and beyond. Director of BBC drama Lindsay Salt states, "We are ecstatic to have Don join the cast. He is already well known to BBC audiences from shows like Doctor Who, EastEnders, and Sherwood, making him one of the most intriguing actors in the country. Role on Christmas, Death in Paradise is in good hands." With his character D.I. Neville Parker finally receiving the happy ending he so desperately wanted, Ralph Little left Death in Paradise earlier this year. Alongside her love interest, Josephine Jobert's D.S. Florence Castle, the character set sail into the sunset. Gillet joins Death in Paradise, after Little, Ben Miller, Chris Marshall, and Ardal O'Hanlon as the fifth detective on the program. You can watch Death in Paradise on BBC iPlayer. By subscribing to the newsletter here, you may be informed about the newest developments in TV and entertainment. Please subscribe our channel.